Have you ever had a moment where everything slowed down? The kind of moment where your whole life just sort of appears in front of you. What did you think about in that moment? I'm willing to bet it wasn't a project, not a deadline. It probably wasn't work at all. Keep that in the back of your mind. We'll come back to this question later, because today I want to talk about work-life balance. Not the tips, not the techniques, but the concept itself, and why I think it's quietly broken in a way nobody talks about. Work-life balance. Let's just look at what that phrase is saying. Work is on one side, life is on the other. The goal is to keep them in balance. But think about what the framing implies. Work is being treated as something outside of life, something separate from it, something you endure so that you can then go live your actual life. And I think that framing is fundamentally wrong. Work is a part of life. It's a significant part for most of us. When we accept the idea that it's on the opposite side of the scale from living, we've already accepted something quite strange, that a large portion of our waking hours is not really ours. It's a cost we pay to get to the part that matters. From that framing, the only logical question becomes, how do I protect enough of my remaining time to function? How do I carve out enough recovery to go back on Monday? It stops being about what you want your life to be. It becomes about damage control. Now some people will say, just go work for yourself then. And for some of us that genuinely is more freedom, but entrepreneurship is its own kind of pressure, and we are all built differently. Most of us will spend most of our careers as employees. So let's start from there. Here's something I've been thinking about. When you accept the work-life balance frame, when you accept that work is the cost and life is the reward, a certain kind of thinking follows naturally. You focus on your habits, your routines, your morning, your evenings, how to protect them, optimize them, recover through them. Which is fine, those things matter. But there's a question that frame makes it very easy not to ask, which is, why does the system work this way in the first place? Is this how I want to spend my time? What am I actually doing with my years? And I don't think that's accidental. I'm not suggesting anyone designed this deliberately, but there's a certain convenience for any system that depends on people showing up and doing the work in having those people focused on optimizing their recovery rather than questioning whether the whole arrangement makes sense. When everyone is asking, how do I get better at balancing this? Nobody is asking, should this be what my days look like at all? I'm not saying the answer to that question is always no. Sometimes the answer is yes. You genuinely like your work, it fits your life, the trade-offs feel right, that's real. But the balance frame doesn't invite the question, it closes it before it can open. So if the frame is broken, and most of us will still be employees anyway, what do you actually do with that? For me, the honest answer isn't to fight the system. I don't think that's where the energy goes. The answer is to take responsibility for your own life inside whatever constraints you're operating in. At least for me, it works like that. And I say that without any judgment because the constraints are real. Financial pressure is real. Geography, family obligations are real. I'm not pretending those don't exist. But within those constraints, there's usually more room that people use. Not infinite room, but real room. And the place I found that room is not in subtracting work, It's in adding life, deliberately, consistently, without waiting until the work situation is perfect. Because the work situation is never perfect. If you are waiting for work to come down before you start spending time on the things that matter to you, you are going to be waiting for a long time. Here's something I've noticed about myself, and I suspect it's not just me. When my time outside work is genuinely full, family, music, things I'm curious about, people I care about, my relationship with work is healthier. Not because I've recharged, but because my sense of what my life is made of is broader. And when that's missing, even when work is going fine, something feels off, flat, like the days are passing but not accumulating into anything. I think that connects to something fundamental about how we perceive our own lives. We are always comparing, consciously or not. If you ask yourself, how is my life going? Your mind is going to look at what your days are actually made of. And if the honest answer is mostly work, even work you don't hate, you like it, that answer doesn't feel complete because somewhere you know there is more to life than that. The fuller your life is outside of work, the less weight any single work problem carries. Not because the problem gets smaller, but because it's proportionately smaller inside a larger whole. The narrower your life is, the more every work problem becomes a life problem, because there's nothing else holding the scale. Which brings me back to where we started. Those moments where everything slows down, when your whole life is running in seconds through your brain, where the noise stops and you're left with just what's actually portrayed on those images. I've had a few of those moments in my life, and what I can tell you is that not once in any of them did work come up, not the projects, not the achievements, not whether I hit the deadline. What came up was people, time, whether I was actually present for the things that mattered. I'm not saying work doesn't matter. I genuinely like what I do, but I think there is a difference between work being part of a full life and work being the thing your life is organized around. The concept of work-life balance, as it's usually framed, keeps you focused on the second arrangement, while convincing you are working towards the first. I don't actually have a clean answer. How do you fix that? I don't think there is one, but I think the starting point is noticing the frame and deciding you're not going to let it answer the question for you. What do you actually want your days to be made of? I'm still working on my own answer to that.